If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living goofy, entitled like you. You know my name, Andrew Tate. Google it if you want to know.
Andrew Tate, the self-proclaimed top G, attacked Jake Paul after he rejected his fight offer, and honestly, it was deserved.
Champions of the past, we have world champions of the present. Marissa Shields in the building.
This is surprising because Jake Paul, known for building his career on bold callouts, has now backed out. He claims to be focused on proving himself as a real fighter, so it shouldn't matter who's across the ring. Yet, it seems it does matter when that opponent is Andrew Tate.
Brothers, one cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You can say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
Don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful.
The fight Andrew proposed wasn't some gimmicky, low-stakes affair. It was a serious challenge, without fluff or spectacle. The best part is that Andrew Tate doesn't need Jake Paul's fame or fortune. With a reported net worth of $700 million, Tate doesn't require the paycheck or publicity. However, Jake turning down the opportunity raises questions. For someone who prides himself on taking on anyone anywhere, why did he suddenly get cold feet? It seems like Jake saw something in Andrew that made him hesitate, something that didn't fit into his carefully constructed persona. This rejection speaks volumes about what Jake may have feared in facing Tate. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why Jake Paul rejected Andrew Tate's fight offer. Spoiler alert, it's not because Andrew isn't a worthy opponent. 3 weeks ago, Venture the Unknown predicted that Andrew Tate would knock Jake into next year.
Delusion. That's delusion. I'm sorry. Look, Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. I'm sorry, Tristan Tate is a weak link.
I say let's
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
Uh-oh. A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight on your...
People are convinced because Andrew Tate made his challenge clear and straightforward. No outrageous demands or complicated terms, just two men settling a score in the ring. At 37 years old, Andrew is in peak physical condition. He's not a washed-up athlete clinging to past glory. He's a 4-time world kickboxing champion, a title that speaks volumes about his skill, discipline, and athleticism. His fitness and combat experience are undeniable, making him a legitimate threat in any fight. Josie took the hilarious jab, roasting Jake Paul by saying he'd now be heading to a nursing home to find his next opponent.
It's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living out of you.
Jake Paul, on the other hand, has carved a niche for himself in the boxing world, though not without controversy. His opponents have often been past their prime or lacked significant boxing experience. Despite this, Jake has marketed himself as a fearless competitor. However, when Andrew Tate threw down the gauntlet, Jake seemed to hesitate, offering excuse after excuse to avoid the fight. His evasions left even his most loyal fans confused and questioning his sudden reluctance.
Fight, you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead.
The reality is that Andrew Tate isn't just another challenger. He's not after clout or a payday. Andrew brings an unmatched authenticity, with an impressive track record in combat sports and a raw, unapologetic persona. He doesn't rely on PR stunts or manufactured drama to stay relevant, making him a stark contrast to Jake Paul, whose brand thrives on spectacle and controversy. Andrew's refusal to engage in the usual theatrics Jake employs added a layer of seriousness to the challenge, something Jake clearly wasn't prepared for. 3 weeks ago, Rannis Sabowal said, "Andrew Tate is correct, shame on Jake Paul."
Yeah, he'll never do that though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract. And two,
He's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might
And it's
say,
funny to say like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared of Jake Paul, will never box.
So why would Jake, the self-proclaimed problem child of boxing, back out of a fight with someone like Andrew Tate? The answer lies in fear. Fear of losing, fear of being exposed, and fear of facing someone who doesn't play by his rules. Jake's previous fights have often been criticized for prioritizing entertainment over genuine competition, with a pattern of cherry-picking opponents who are either past their prime or lack the skills to truly challenge him. In contrast, Andrew made it clear that their fight would be far from scripted. It wouldn't be another orchestrated event for social media buzz. It would be a real fight, something Jake hasn't truly faced before.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer.
Jake's brand heavily relies on his undefeated image and the illusion of invincibility. A loss to Andrew Tate wouldn't just damage his boxing record. It would shatter the carefully crafted persona he's built. Unlike Jake's past opponents, Andrew has nothing to lose. He doesn't need to prove himself or gain notoriety. This imbalance of stakes undoubtedly influenced Jake's decision to reject the fight.
But let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the future.
Jake's history of carefully selecting opponents is no secret. From Ben Askren to Tyron Woodley, his matches have been strategic moves designed to keep him in the spotlight while minimizing risk. Each fight has been more about building his brand than testing his skills. Andrew Tate, however, doesn't fit that mold. He's not just a fighter. He's a strategist who understands both the psychological and physical aspects of combat. Jake can't easily outmaneuver someone like Andrew, which likely intimidated him. Jake thrives in situations where he has the upper hand, but Andrew doesn't give him that advantage. The fallout from Jake's rejection has been significant. Fans and critics alike have called him out for dodging a real challenge. Social media is buzzing with accusations of cowardice, and even Jake's most loyal supporters are starting to question his motives. Meanwhile, Andrew is basking in the aftermath, using Jake's refusal to further solidify his reputation as a fearless competitor. He seized the opportunity to expose what he sees as Jake's true nature, a boxer more focused on maintaining a facade than proving himself against worthy opponents. Jake Paul's refusal to fight Andrew Tate may have spared him from a potential loss in the ring, but it has caused irreparable damage to his credibility. The decision paints him as a cherry picker, more concerned with protecting his image than facing genuine challenges. For someone whose career has been built on boldness, this retreat feels like a glaring contradiction. On the other hand, Andrew emerges unscathed. He didn't need the fight to elevate his profile, and Jake's refusal only underscores Andrew's legitimacy as a fighter. Ultimately, this situation reveals much about both men. Andrew Tate remains a genuine competitor, unafraid to step into the ring with anyone. Jake Paul, despite his claims of fearlessness, has proven that he is still more interested in controlling his narrative than truly proving himself in the ring. The irony is that by rejecting Andrew's challenge, Jake has done more damage to his reputation than any loss ever could. As Madeleine Winred commented 2 weeks ago, Andrew Tate's response to Jake Paul is exactly what we expect from a man who doesn't need social media or another platform to fake his popularity. His online presence isn't built on purchased followers or likes, but on real conversations and unapologetic confidence. Andrew's challenge to Jake and the subsequent rejection have left the sports and entertainment worlds buzzing with questions. For someone like Jake, who thrives on controversy and spectacle, turning down such a high-profile fight seems contradictory to everything he claims to stand for. The backlash he faces isn't just about the rejection, it's about what it signifies. This isn't merely a missed opportunity for another fight, it's a turning point that exposes the cracks in Jake's carefully crafted persona.
See Andrew's style, he does tend to keep those guards down, but he's comfy at that point.
Jake Paul has always marketed himself as an underdog turned superstar, building his reputation on the idea that he's unafraid to take on challenges others wouldn't. However, his opponents tell a different story. Each fight has been a calculated move to maximize attention while minimizing risk, from aging MMA stars to inexperienced boxers. Jake's bouts often feel more like strategic exhibitions than true tests of skill. This formula has worked in his favor, until now. Andrew Tate is a completely different beast. Unlike Jake's previous opponents, Andrew doesn't fit the mold of a cherry-picked adversary. His combat resume, combined with his no-nonsense approach, makes him the most dangerous opponent Jake has faced. Andrew wasn't offering a flashy exhibition, he was proposing a real fight. By doing so, he forced Jake to confront something he's avoided so far: a genuine, uncalculated risk.
Fight, you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like
Jake Paul's rejection of Andrew Tate's fight offer has sparked widespread speculation about his motives and, more importantly, his credibility as a boxer. Jake's fans are accustomed to seeing him talk a big game, but this time, his usual bravado fell flat. Social media quickly erupted with memes, criticisms, and debates about why Jake turned down the fight. Was it fear, a strategic move, or was it simply an acknowledgement that Andrew Tate posed a challenge Jake wasn't prepared to handle for Andrew? This situation has been a win, regardless of whether the fight ever happens. By calling out Jake and being turned down, Andrew has solidified his reputation as someone unafraid to go against the grain. He doesn't need Jake's platform or fanbase. He already has a massive following and a larger-than-life persona. But challenging Jake and watching him retreat has added another layer to Andrew's legacy as a fighter who doesn't just talk the talk, but walks the walk. What makes this situation even more compelling is the timing. Jake has been vocal about his desire to prove himself as a legitimate boxer. He's gone to great lengths to shed the YouTuber label and establish himself as a professional fighter. Yet, when given the opportunity to face someone as credible as Andrew Tate, he hesitated. The optics of this decision couldn't be worse for someone who has built a brand around boldness. This move feels like a retreat, and it's not just about missing a fight, it's about what that fight represented. It was a chance for Jake to prove himself against a real opponent, to show he's more than just a spectacle. Instead, he walked away, leaving fans to wonder if he's truly the fighter he claims to be. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate walks away with his reputation intact, his credibility as a fighter further reinforced. In the end, the fight may not have happened, but the message is clear. Jake Paul still has something to prove, and Andrew Tate doesn't need to prove anything to anyone.